reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock is started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. I'm your host, Stephen Marr. And
hi, Steve.
Hello. That voice you hear there is Mr. Stephen Kegel.
Yes, it's me.
Posted up 1 mile away from Starship East, Mark II, that may or may not ever fly. So we found out.
At least it's still intact, for what it's worth.
Do what? What'd you say?
At least it's still intact.
Yeah, at least it's still intact. Yeah. I wonder. We'll get to Starship stuff in a minute. Matt Cutshall, the founder and operator of Next Horizons Spaceflight, coming at you.
Spaceflight.
How you doing, brother?
Spaceflight. Man, I'm doing all right, man. We got a lot of exciting and awesome stuff.
Yeah. And we
Too
had
much stuff to share,
so
man.
much stuff we had to start early.
Well, we're also starting earlier because there's a really awesome event going on tonight that we all really want to check out because we're all space nerds. So, yeah, that's another reason why we're starting early. So it's nice to be off early from work for a change.
Yeah, for real. And Bekah Penland.
Hello.
And her
I'm
cat.
so excited. Yeah, my cat's around here somewhere. She's acting like a fool tonight. I'm all ready to go outside tonight. I'm all bundled up in my boots and my long sleeve shirt, and I'm excited.
Oh, wow.
On this chilly Florida night.
Yeah, because I was out there a little bit ago. I have struts. I got some new struts for my trunk, and they work. My trunk now will lift and be held up by these struts. You ever had broken struts on your trunk?
Yes,
It
I have.
falls down on your head.
My old Blazer.
Yeah, my old Camaro.
But yeah, we're I was not we all. Well, actually, it's early enough, Matt. You could come on out to Bekah's too. I was going to say we're all going to Bekah's, but I don't. Kegel, you're not that far away. I know you got to work early, but you could always come out to the beach, boy.
Everyone's invited. Come to my backyard.
Can I be there in spirit?
It's not. I mean, I just whenever we're done, just hop in the car and come on, right?
Okay, work in the morning and a little boy to get to school.
Yeah, I don't know. But, well, that's what I'm doing. Me and my roommate, Brad, we're going to go over to Bekah's and hopefully a few people from work and watch the space stuff. Cool. Yeah, if you haven't heard, there is a meteor storm. Not meteor shower, but a meteor storm. And this is something that I have been waiting for since I heard about it. Like, this is on par with like a solar eclipse, except solar eclipses are way more awesome, I think, than what we're going to see tonight. But it's like I've been waiting that long. Like, I've heard of them, and all I knew was that they're really rare and they're really hard to predict. But some of the most well-known meteor showers will sometimes produce a meteor storm, which is I'm not sure like how it's categorized, like what number of, above what number per hour it has to be, but they're predicting 400 per hour on this one.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
400 or more per hour. And now the only trick is it's not going to last an hour. They're saying it's going to last somewhere between 15 minutes and 50 minutes. And of course, if you're hearing this recorded, then it's already too late. If it's Friday and you're hearing this, it's already too late. But we just want to talk about it well, first because we're excited, but two because in case there's anybody watching on the stream that somehow doesn't know, it's possible. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about photographing meteors. It's not an easy thing to do. Even if you're accustomed to astrophotography and, taking pictures of stars, it's not as cut and dry as you might think. If you already know this stuff, well, just gloss right over. But the thing
you have to do
go ahead.
Like short, long exposures.
You can still do the long exposures.
That way you get a streak of them, maybe.
Yeah. Well, what you have to keep in mind is that although a lot of them are bright, they're only there for a very short period of time. They're only they're only occupying each pixel for a very short period of time. So even if you are able to see them for multiple seconds, they have moved from one side of your sensor to another side. So and this also goes for like photographing lightning. Like the lightning may be bright, but it is not there for very long. So you have to enlist the help of your ISO. You need to be in manual mode, obviously. If you're accustomed to long exposure, then you already know. But if you're not, then you need to switch to manual mode and just go with, anything over 15 or 20 seconds is fine. Most cameras can go up to 30 seconds of an exposure in manual mode. Open that aperture up all the way. Find your focus. That's kind of a tricky thing to do sometimes in the dark. But what you usually do is you find something that's far away that you can see through the either the eyepiece or the viewfinder, or I use the screen on the back because my cameras have a button that I can hit to zoom in. Now, this isn't actual zoom. This is a digital zoom. It's basically just enlarging the image that I'm looking at, but it gets me in there a little bit closer, and I can manually adjust my focus to get whatever that light is in focus. Now, it needs to be something that's far enough away to be considered at infinity, quote unquote. That's what they call it when it's like you're at the limits of what you would possibly focus at. Like, because if you're focusing on a street light that's 2 or 3 miles away, as long as that's in focus, the stars will be in focus too, because it's so far away that the focus point is going to be the same. So there's that, and then the ISO. I'm not sure what it needs to be. Whenever I start shooting, I'm probably going to start with like 500 or 600. Hopefully we're seeing so many that you've got a lot of opportunities to where you see one and it passes through your field of view, and then you can check on your camera, see if you got it. And if you got it, great. Then, keep with those settings. If you want the streaks to be brighter, then you can up your ISO. But once your aperture is as wide as it can go, that's all the light your camera is going to be able to gather in an instant. This is, whereas with stars, you're able to, they sit there in your field of view for a long period of time. They're slowly drifting through, but they're sitting in one spot long enough that the light coming from that can just fill up the bucket. That's a way that I heard it put one time when I was first learning how to do this, was think of the pixels on your camera sensor as little buckets. So if you've got a 24 megapixel camera, you've got 24 million buckets. And where that light hits on that sensor it's filling up a bucket. So when you're shooting stars, that the light from that star is hitting that same bucket for a long period of time, and it's able to fill it up. But the meteor is going to streak across several buckets, so it's not going to be able to pick it up as well. So that's what ISO is it's increasing the sensitivity of your sensor. So as that light's coming from the meteor, you want to be able to grab as much light from it as possible by upping the sensitivity of your sensor. Okay.
ISO, what is it an acronym or is it an actual word?
I don't know. I've looked it up. It's most people say ISO, and half the time I say ISO, but I've read a couple things that say the proper way to say it is ISO, but I can't remember what it stands for. If anybody wants to Google it.
You said increasing sensitivity of, and it's ISO.
Oh yeah. Increased sensitivity. I don't know. Matt, do you have any idea? Do you know what ISO means?
I saw it somewhere a while ago. It's something I can't even remember, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been a while.
I think it might be. Well, it's like people can Google it. If
have
one
the
of you,
answer.
Oh, you have the answer. Excellent. Okay, cool. I was going to say it's neither here nor there, but it is interesting to know. What is it?
ISO simply stands for the International Organization of Standardization. Standardization.
Well, why does the S come before the O?
Yeah. What's what does the O stand for?
This is odd. I don't know. It says the International Organization of Standardization, which is the main governing body that standardizes sensitivity ratings for camera sensors.
Okay, so it seems like it should be International Standards Organization, right?
Standardization organization. But that's not how it's worded.
Yeah.
I'm so confused by this.
Who comes up with this stuff?
This one says International Standards Organization.
International Standards
Yeah, I-
Organization. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So if anybody was wondering, that's your answer. That's what ISO stands for. There
What
you
kind
go.
of dummy would write an article and switch those words? What kind of dummy would read it?
I
This
have
one?
the answer. Yes. See, I think obviously, you want to make sure your camera's on a tripod because while this is happening, you don't want it to move because then you're essentially changing the source or like the point at which the light is hitting your camera or hitting your sensor. So your camera's got to be
What type
still.
of lens do you use?
Oh yeah, what type of lens?
Zoom in, or do you want to use like a fisheye?
Well, it depends on how lucky you're feeling. If if you're feeling real lucky, punk, then you can zoom in. I thought about doing you definitely want to go wide. If you only have one option, go wide. But if you have multiple cameras and multiple lenses, then it might not be a bad idea to try because catching a meteor zoomed in would just be incredible.
Yeah.
But it's very unlikely. The further in you zoom, the less likely you are to have a meteor actually streak across your frame.
Yep.
So I'm going to use my 8mm and then my kit lens, the 18 to 55, and I may not zoom all the way out with the kit lens. I may try to get lucky and zoom in, like halfway or something, and just see if I can maybe catch a nice bright one streaking across. And another thing is you don't want to be touching your camera right when it goes to expose. So if you don't have a shutter remote, which is something that will plug into it. Most cameras, most DSLRs have a port on there that you can plug a remote into, and that way you can be hands off and you can trigger the shutter. If you have that, that's great. That's probably what you want to use.
It's wireless. Ooh.
Yeah, you've got the wireless, the infrared one, right?
Yeah.
The camera has a built-in sensor for infrared on it, right?
The front and the back, luckily.
Yeah, which I think my 60D, it's only on the front, which I thought was really weird because whenever I first got it, it came with a bunch of peripherals that I never use now. But
the best place to take pictures is to stand in front of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that was the assumption that was where everyone was going to be standing.
That's everyone. Only for selfies.
But if you don't have the remote, another option is look at your drive settings. The drive settings is where you can change whether you're doing just single shots or if you're doing continuous shots where the camera's going to go bam, 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 or continuous high speed where it's bam, 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 bam. But most cameras also have an option to do either a 2-second delay or a 10-second delay. So if you don't have the remote, use that 2-second delay because then you can hit the shutter button and then go hands off, and it has a couple seconds for the camera to settle any vibration that might have been there. And if
you have a cell phone, pay no attention to any of this.
What?
If you have a cell phone, pay attention. No, don't pay attention to any of this.
Oh, well, if you have
these are for cameras.
If you have actually, Bekah,
I'm gonna use my iPhone 11 Pro.
Yeah,
it's not the same as using a DSLR, but
tell the people how to do it.
Okay. So is it going to be the same as what you do to take pictures of stars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're not going to have the ability to up your sensitivity or anything like that.
Okay, but what you can do is you can adjust the exposure, and so
shutter speed. Yeah.
Right. So in order to take pictures of something, I guess that's that far away, but is still giving off light, you have to allow the camera to gather light, and that's how you put it when you explain it to me. Is you're gathering light. So you're, so you said the shutter.
It's the shutter speed, yeah. And we're going
Okay.
long exposure on this. The new iPhone Pros, the 11 Pros, have that low light, the night mode, right?
Mm-hmm. They do.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember?
So yeah, yeah. You showed me. So you push. There's a button that you push. I'm giving all the tips to all the people like me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
All
to
right.
use your
So
phone.
so when you pull up your camera on your iPhone 11 Pro, it's probably the same on the other one and the Pro Max and all that. But I have the 11 Pro, so I'm giving the tips that I know for that. And there is a button up top that it looks like a moon. It looks like a moon with some lines through it. Like it's a crescent moon, but it's also a full moon. But anyway, you push that, and then it tells you the amount of seconds that that your exposure is going to be. And then down at the bottom, there's a little dial that you can push to the left or right to maximize or minimize. And the highest you can go, it seems to me, is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like is the highest for this particular camera. But I took some pictures the other night of the sky. It was a very clear night, and there were a lot of stars. It was so pretty. And Steve-O showed me how to do this, and it just blew my mind. It blew my freaking mind that you could get so clear of a picture of stars. I've never been able to do that before. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's pretty impressive that the iPhone can do that now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to take pictures like that tonight, and I feel like it's gonna turn out differently because they're moving. I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna translate to a picture, but I don't want anybody to tell me. I want to be surprised by
Right.
it.
Yeah. You'll be able to capture if there's any really bright ones. I think you'll be able to capture them, and then
And
hopefully
Android-
with some editing, we'll be able to bring.
Android people right now are all yelling and be like, "We've been able to do that for years."
Oh, really? could they actually control the shutter speed?
I think on my Pixel 3 I can do some settings. I mean, on the night mode. I've only played with it a couple times.
And before we actually get out there, Bekah, and anybody else listening, if really doesn't matter what kind of phone you have, there may be an option for some kind of an app where you actually can set your shutter speed, have full control over your shutter speed, and maybe even your ISO. You might be able to up the sensitivity on it. I know there are camera apps out there that give you more control over your camera shutter or your sensor. So that'll be worth looking into. And if you're able to find an app like that, then familiarize yourself with it very quickly and give it a shot, because it might just turn out some better results. If you can affect your ISO and crank that up a little bit more. The trick with ISO to keep in mind is that it increases noise in the image, and that's a big thing in photography. When you start getting into the high-end cameras, one of the many things that you're paying for in those high-end cameras is their performance in low light. And really what they're talking about is how much noise they generate in a low light image, and how basically how high you can take the ISO without suffering too much noise. Because you can, like on my 80D, I can take the ISO up to like 12,800 or something ridiculous like that, but it is just a grainy mess, and it's not anything worth using. And of course, a lot of the for photo editing software, it has noise reduction, but when there's that much noise, there's just nothing you can do. Even if you crank the noise reduction all the way up, it ends up making your photo look kind of like a watercolor paint. It's really weird. But if you can find a happy medium where there's not too much noise and you're still able to capture what you want, then you're good, and you might actually get something that you're proud of.
Okay.
And actually, I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to Miss Chief and Miss Tree coming back, because I had to use some of those tricks. But
The
yeah.
Pixel 3 doesn't have a exposure time that I could find in night mode.
Not in the
But I did
native camera app, but there might
No.
be an app out there where you can.
I did find you can shoot in RAW.
Oh, really? on
Surprisingly,
on the
yeah, it
Pixel.
says you can shoot in RAW and JPEG.
What?
Yeah.
That's big, man, because iPhone don't do
Damn,
that.
that's awesome.
I wonder if
man.
there's an app that'll allow you to shoot in RAW. The thing with RAW, if you don't know, is most cameras, all cameras, can shoot in JPEG, and that's when you're printing a photo. Most of the time, it's in a JPEG format. JPEG's good for like the final product when you don't need to make any further adjustments, but RAW is really what you want because I'm not sure the nature and why they're able to do this, but when you have a raw file, you're able to adjust exposure and contrast and your highlights and shadows with a lot more impunity. You can take those sliders much further without screwing up your image when you're shooting in raw. It's just a much higher quality image, and it's more true to the data of the actual photons that were caught, and it's like the camera knows more than it does if you are using JPEG. And this is a very dumbed down version because I don't exactly understand how RAW works and why it's able to do that, but you always shoot in RAW. Like I've seen people debate like, oh, hey, JPEG or RAW. Like it's not a debate. If you have the ability to shoot in RAW, then you shoot in RAW because you have.
And then you just include JPEG later.
Do what? Yeah, because then you can always. Yeah, that's what you do. You edit it. You edit the RAW file, and then you export it as a JPEG. And there's probably higher quality. Like I think bitmap might be higher quality even than JPEG, but like I know. I tried, like on my SmugMug page, I tried exporting to a bitmap, and SmugMug doesn't support bitmap. So I have like the best I could get, and this is probably the case with most things, is JPEG. So when you've finished editing, you output it as a JPEG, and bam.
Well, for anyone joining, welcome to Photograph Talk.
Yeah, and hey, Harry Stranger, how you doing, bro? Hey, I should. I'll whenever we get to Miss Chief and Miss Tree, I'll pull up Harry Stranger's Twitter so we can see. He I don't know, man. I don't know what he's doing. He's got some kind of magic. Harry is a wizard, by the way, in case y'all didn't know.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, what?
You're a wizard, Harry.
There you go.
I don't want to.
Yeah. He said that to me, and I said he's. Somebody asked how he's doing it, and I responded like, he's some kind of wizard. And then he responded with a GIF of the dude in Harry Potter saying, "You're a wizard, Harry." And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even make that connection. But I'm also not a Harry Potter fan.
I would have said it multiple seconds before I did, but I was muted.
Oh, so you did say it, but you just were muted.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back in time to Friday, the night after. In fact, I think we were talking about how I was going to be getting up early to go see the Falcon 9 come back. Falcon 9 B1048, that is the designation. And anytime you see a B1048 dot whatever, the dot whatever indicates how many flights that booster has had. Oh, wait, what's Harry saying? If you have a DSLR and the USB cable that comes with it, you can download free software and PC to control your camera, set intervals. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So if you have that, then most cameras will come with software so that you can set interval. It's called an intervalometer whenever you're setting your camera to take pictures at intervals. And doing meteors, that's a good thing to have because it's nice to be able to just set your camera and then let it go, and that way you don't have to sit there and continue to take photos. So moving on. Yes, this was the fourth return for this booster. I went down to a different spot than what most of us usually go to. Usually everybody starts out at Jetty Park and shoots the booster coming in, and then moves down around Gator's Dockside and Rusty's Oyster Bar. But I wanted to get the booster coming all the way down the channel, so I went down to the end of Mullet Road and shot it from there. It it was essentially uneventful, really. It's the booster coming back, and nothing really to say. It looked like it was leaning. It was Bekah's first time.
It was not uneventful. I saw 3 sea turtles and a jellyfish.
No dolphins?
No dolphins. No, the turtles were enough for me though. There were a lot of birds too. Like there was at one point we looked under the bridge, behind the bridge, and it was It was a very large amount of birds, and more
Mhm.
birds than I've ever seen in
Yeah.
one place at
Oh
one time.
man. Yeah. Like they were having church over there.
Man, I want to see sea turtles in the wild, man.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Huh. I've seen dolphin, but never sea turtle. Manatees, but never sea turtles.
And then there was a fish just hanging out underneath one of the sea turtles, like following it, but underneath the sea turtle.
Yeah,
What the
I
heck?
actually got a video of it.
Oh yeah.
Shade.
Did you put it up on Twitter? I could show it.
No, but I could do it right now. Keep talking amongst yourselves. I will do it right now.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing the time lapse that I got on
Wait, Steve,
What was
I got a
that?
question.
Tuesday.
I don't know if it was your shot or whoever shot it. It looks like there's solar panels on top of the
Absolutely,
octograbber.
yes. Not the octograbber.
That's not top. Well, I mean the whatever the thing grips the top.
The lifting cap is what
Yeah.
I've heard it called. But yeah, so well, you figure. Okay, so the lifting cap used to just be the circle. I know you guys have seen it, but just so you can see, we can all be on the same page here. All right, and I'll pause it right there. So the lifting cap used to just be this circle right here. And whenever they decided that they wanted to start lifting the legs, then we saw this square part added. And at each corner, there's pulleys or a motor or whatever, and lines that go down to the legs. And they string those down, they hook them to the end of the legs, and that's how they lift them up. The legs aren't like self-retracting. They have to be pulled up. And if you see this time lapse, you can see that they've taken the legs off. So they had issues with the actually I can show you where the last leg. I got to the top of Exploration Tower just in time to see the last bit of the last leg come off. They tried to get the leg to fold up. They tried on two separate legs that I saw, and they couldn't get them. And of course, when you're hanging out down at the port, everybody's speculating on what's going on, and a lot of people think that maybe in the landing something is getting like bent or twisted or something, so that it's binding when they try to fold it up.
There's
Probably
like some kind of, like, honeycomb structure in there.
Yeah,
that-
the crush cores.
Right.
Yeah.
But the crush
So maybe
cores, well, I wonder if the crush cores would affect it if they get used, if they get
Yeah.
used up.
been stuck in between to slide the cylinder back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're expanding too much.
Oh yeah, Matt, you got to take your son up there. I haven't really talked to you about that. What did he think?
Well, that was on Sunday,
Yeah.
and it was very cold and windy, man. So anybody who's been out to the port, there's an area between Gators, and I can't remember what the other place is, but there's
Rusty's.
like Rusty's. There's like a little park area right there. Well, he wanted no part of even remotely even looking at the booster. He wanted to hang out underneath the sunshade where the park benches and stuff are,
Oh really?
and was playing in the dirt. Yeah.
So he wasn't having it.
He was playing in the dirt.
I
And
can
I'm like,
see.
it was
Yeah,
too.
that's what I did when I played baseball when I was a kid. I
Yeah,
was disinterested and I'd sit in the outfield and throw grass and see which way it went in the wind.
Really?
yeah.
That all the time. Instead of paying attention to the ball.
I think it was just too cold, man. It really was. It was really cold when it was just a nasty day. But I wanted to go out there just to get some kind of content. Everybody else is getting content. I wanted to, at least get a video and whatnot, and I did. I got some great stuff. He did tell me when we were, because I was scouting out areas. I was like, you know what, I want to get a little bit creative with this, trying to get something different.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're walking, he says, "Daddy, Daddy, stop!" And I said, "What?" He says, "I just wanted to let you know that I love watching you take pictures."
Aw.
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Puddle," you know what I mean?
It's a good thing it was already raining, because then he would have seen your tears.
You know what I mean? And he would just, so every single spot I stopped, he was he was loving it. He was just like, "Oh, Daddy, what about this angle?" and blah blah blah. So he was actually helping me get some of the shots that I got. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, it was a good day.
Yeah,
It
you
was,
did get some good video, and some people were watching and chiming in on the Facebook feed, right?
yeah, I got some pretty good shots too, man.
Yeah.
Something thinking outside the box,
Yeah.
something different.
I like that, the shooting through the fishing nets. Well, here, if you guys are, I know there's a couple people watching, so I'm gonna pull up Matt's Twitter so you can
And
see.
my turtle tweet is live
Okay,
now too.
all right, let's see.
Oh, turtle.
Oh,
I like
not Nat.
I
Matt.
couldn't think of a thing to put as the caption, so I panicked.
Right. Are you part of the Turtle Club?
I should have done that.
Turtle.
I should have.
Oh, and did you? Oh, that was Kegel's shots of Starship. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's one. Yeah, just peeking through the fishing net there. Sorry, I'm trying
There
to
it
share
is.
my screen. Yeah. Oh, you're watching on the stream. Okay. Yeah, man, I like that. Like, it
That's
just
cool.
kind of gives an idea of like it's the port is not all about SpaceX. In fact, SpaceX is only a small portion of the port, and most of the time there's no activity over there. None to speak of. They're always doing things, but there's not always a booster over there. It's mostly fishing boats and tugs
ships.
and cruise ships and all kinds of different stuff. And then I also
Cruise
like this
ships,
one you got
submarines.
of Go Quest with the booster in the background. It was good.
It was a good shot. If I would have had just a little bit of, I got a good shot of the where it actually said "Go Quest,"
Yeah.
and then that's the swamp raccoon.
This is not a rocket, guys. This is not a rocket.
Well, his name is Rocket.
Is it?
Rocket.
Okay, yeah. Let's double back here and see Bekah's video of the
of the turtle?
yeah.
See, I've never seen turtles.
The fish,
man.
yeah, you can see the fish. Well, let's see. We don't need the sound, but I would like to make it bigger. Can you see it? Where's it at?
Kind of.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's right underneath that turtle right there.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Boy, I said a lot of things in the last couple minutes. I need to stop muting myself.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think it's
Talking away
necessary.
over there. Nobody knows.
Okay, yeah, so I never even got to the end of the video, but so as you can see, they laid down the booster. I just want to say, it is so cool hanging out at the port when there's this stuff going on, because you just never know who you're going to run into, people that you may have followed for years. And at this point, I've met a lot of them, but man, when I first started going out there, it was like being starstruck constantly, like just seeing people that I had followed their work for so long. And now it's just like, you run into, usually, you got Ken Kramer and Richard Angle, Kyle Montgomery was out there, John Van Horn and Crystal were out there. But it's just so cool to, for everyone to be out there and just socializing, but also speculating, because we don't get to know exactly what's going on across the water from us. But it's just cool, just sitting there, just talking baseball,
It's nice to go out there when the weather is nice, not when it's crappy.
Yeah. Tuesday, the weather was awesome. It started to get a little chilly as the sun started going down, and that's when Richard and I both bugged out, and then I think Kyle stuck around for a little while to finish his time lapse, and then I don't think anybody got it rolling away because they didn't do it until the morning. I talked to someone that knows, and I asked if Falcon 9 had come this way, and they said yeah, and I said when was it, and they said this morning, and it was the next day that I was asking. So it rolled out early. Of course everybody wants to see it because it's possible to see it up close. If you go park over at Sands Space Museum rather, you can actually see it, and you can get you can walk across that grass, and you can get closer than you would ever be, otherwise. You know what I mean? It's just kind of neat to see something like that roll by, and be.
It's all wrapped up, but
No, not when they're rolling it from the port into the Air Force Station. Now, when it's coming from Hawthorne, it is all wrapped up. But no, yeah, it's really cool. You can get kind of, you feel much closer to it, because there's not this huge gap of water. I don't know how wide the channel is in Port Canaveral, but it's probably wider than what it feels when you're standing out there, you know.
And nobody has yet to really get any video or pictures of it rolling
Not this
by
one.
like that.
I mean, I've done it. Yeah, I've got a video of it. Actually, on my YouTube channel, if you go to Space Coast Steve, search for Space Coast Steve on YouTube, I have a compilation video that I put together of all of the footage that I had up to that point, and made it where you could see every step of the recovery process. And the last clip of that video is from me standing on the side of the road with the Falcon 9 rolling by me. Like,
oh man,
yeah, it was really cool.
I gotta do that one of these days, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's really hard to do. I don't think they want to
Yeah.
draw a crowd for that, but at the same
Of
time,
course
they're
not.
you know, it's not like it's illegal to be over there, and they're not going to run you off. You just have to be respectful. And
Yeah.
anybody, if you're listening and this is like somehow encouraging you to go do this, you better be respectful and don't ruin this for everybody, because the ability to be close to stuff like this is it could be taken away. I would think.
Yep.
You know, if they wanted to, they could just block the road down on
Yep.
401. So
There's gates there.
yeah, they could totally stop you from doing that, and you're not allowed to stop along the side of the road. So like you said, they could close that gate so that you couldn't pass it and go park at Sand Space Museum. So, you know, anybody out there, if you're feeling encouraged to go do it, you better be cool, because
Yeah.
I know that well, I don't know for sure what happened with the Starship and why we're not allowed to go to the cul-de-sac, but my hunch is that too many people were going down there and acting a fool, you know, maybe hanging out for too long and stuff. But
Are they like super strict on that now?
I mean, they got those signs, says no parking, standing, no nothing like that.
Yeah.
So, and I just haven't. I don't want to mess around with it. You know, I want to go see it every once in a while, but yeah, I'm pretty careful about
I saw
that.
it the other day.
Well, you live nearby, you know, and it's cool, and it's actually really nice that you do, because that way, you know, I know somebody that is keeping tabs and stuff. So yeah, hey, and by the way, if you're not already following Stephen Kegel, look at my screen. It's right on down here, FLA Steve 321,
That's me.
because he lives real close to Starship.
Sometimes I get all right photos.
They're good, man. Okay, so moving on. Oh yeah, I wanted to look at Harry Stranger. This was really tricky last night, trying to figure out when they were going to come back, because they were not showing up on marine traffic.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't find them. Yeah, here's Harry's. Put his down over here. Wait, let's see. Yeah. So Harry got this satellite image of Miss Chief and Miss Tree cruising on along. And again, you know, they're not the highest resolution, but to be able to capture that, I want to know, but I also, you know, I don't. I'm not sure I would be advanced enough to be able to actually do it. Even if he told me, I'd probably just gloss over and be like, okay, I can't do this. I'll just leave that to you. Let's see. And I'm guessing, okay, so yeah, he's got a red circle right here, and I'm guessing that's it. So somehow he figured out exactly where they were going to be, with the help of SpaceX Fleet, who, by the way, we're going to have on the show a couple weeks from now, December 12th, I believe.
Yeah.
And we're going to go at a little bit different time to accommodate him, because he's over in Europe and we're over here. And so we're going to kind of not really meet in the middle, but we're going to start an hour earlier that night.
Across the pond.
Yeah, across the pond. Yeah, so there's his picture of Miss Tree and Miss Chief just cruising along. And I couldn't get him to show up on marine traffic, and which meant that I thought whenever I got up to the port that I had ample time. I was like, okay, I got plenty of time. And I had actually stopped at the spot, the little parking lot next to Gators, because I saw that Go Quest, Go Navigator, and Go Searcher were all parked side by side right next to the drone ship. So I got out the big lens, and I thought, you know, okay, let me get a couple shots of them, you know, at night, lined up like that. And And then all of a sudden, I hear this sound, and you guys got to hear the sound of these boats. They sound so weird. They don't sound like you'd expect, and and maybe they just sound like a, I don't know, souped up Hemi or something like that. It sounds like a car, kind of like a muscle
Yeah, they're
car.
huge diesel motors.
Yeah, and that's probably all it is. But just all of a sudden, I heard it and I look and I'm like, oh no, they're here! And like I had this other place that I was gonna be, and I had a certain shot I was going for, and then it's like, whip the camera around and just go to town. And that was the point when it's like, how high can I crank my ISO without getting too much grain? And I'm trying to figure this out as they're moving towards me, and I'm losing opportunities because I need to dial in my settings and get it just right to get the best that I can get. And of course, once they get where they're just straight out from you, they're moving laterally through your frame, which means if you're doing a slow shutter, then they're going to be a blurry mess. And so I think with this image right here, and I can even show you, I'm kind of proud that I was able to pull this off. I had my tripod, and on my tripod I can tighten, I have full movement, to angle it, forward, back, and tilt it left to right, but I also have the ability to just pan without affecting the up and down. And so I locked in the up and down and whatever, and I loosened the other one, and I just panned slowly, trying to keep the boat in the frame at the exact speed. And you can see that the stuff in the background is blurry, but Miss Tree is sharp. I mean, there's noise.
That's a cute picture. I like the lights in the water.
Yeah, I like that they have these blue or purplish lights on board. It really makes them cool looking.
And so where were you posted up at to get that?
This
shot?
was at Gators, at the parking lot.
Gators,
Yeah,
okay.
in the middle of the night. I figure, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, because JD Park's closed.
Right. And in fact, I was talking to a coworker today, and apparently they've gotten even stricter. It used to be that you could still go into Jetty Park, and then just as long as you're not causing a ruckus, nobody's going to mess with you. But apparently they have started ticketing people that are going in after close.
What?
Yeah.
Even walking?
I guess. It's like if you're not staying there, like if you're not in the campground, then you ought not be there.
Yeah, but you can go, man. You could ride a
Well,
bicycle,
you
man.
can walk over. They're not gonna give you a ticket.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
We'll
could
see.
ticket me for walking.
Apparently, and I haven't seen these signs myself, but he was telling me today that they have signs up there that talk about trespassing.
Yeah, but you can be on the actual beach or the dock. I don't think they want you wandering around like the camping area and the
Yeah.
area. That's what I mean. They can't keep you off the beach.
Yeah.
How much is a camping site there?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Just-
Can't be much.
There's at least camping per night is like $30 or $40 a night.
I mean,
I know.
get a couple people to chip in, then you're all good to be in there.
Yeah, I had my old boss used to go camping there.
Oh,
Yeah, he said
apparently
$30 or $40.
Harry says U.S. launch report got a good video of the transport. And then Fragman52, I'm pretty sure that's Kyle, said, I think the cul-de-sac just became too known to the public. It wasn't just photographers stopping by, even tourists were going. Yeah, and that's probably the case. They don't want that much attention over there.
I'm sure they still are. No one pays attention to that little sign.
Yeah, they probably still are. I mean, and you can still roll through there.
Yeah,
But they're going to run you off if you try to stop.
yeah, every once in a while I drive down and I look, I drive around, and then I go over to the FedEx place to take a photo. You need that drone like that one guy's always got. That's how
I ain't even messing around with that.
Why not? They got them at Walmart for like $20.
I mean, yeah, you could get them, but there's laws about that. That's a flight path right there.
Well, depending on what kind of drone you get.
Yeah, and how high you go, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Depending on what kind of drone you get, then you need a license.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 250 grams.
There you go. Bam.
Bam. Yeah. Kegel knows the laws. He's got the certification, but he doesn't want to do it either.
After I read all that, I was like, I can't fly this thing anywhere.
You do it.
Return it to Amazon.
Yeah. I got to buzz the tower just to do anything.
What do I need? $600 drone that I can't use.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's anybody got anything to add about any port stuff? Because I think now we talk about Starliner.
Yeah, Starliner. Oh yeah.
Is that a cruise line?
Oh, it's a cruise line. All right.
Yeah, they'll be somebody's going on a cruise.
They'll be cruising to the stars.
Yeah. So, well, last night, really this morning, Boeing rolled out the Starliner out to launch pad, or well, technically Space Launch Complex 41, which is where the Atlas V was awaiting its arrival, and they lifted it up. Check out this time lapse if you haven't been on Twitter today of them
Somebody
lifting up the capsule.
Somewhere there on the right of that.
Do what?
Too much of a lag. One photo, he got a photo when it was rolling out in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
He's out there on it would have been on the right side.
Oh, a friend of yours?
Yeah, he works for Boeing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I would have liked to have been out there to see that. Apparently NASA didn't let anybody know until like really late last night.
Yeah.
So even like I had applied for it, and we're going through the process of trying to get Next Horizon's credentials. But even if I had been approved, I just don't think I could have done it because if the event if they started rolling it at 1 a.m., well, you could see daylight here. I couldn't have been out there all night. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, even if we had been allowed to be out there, I'm not sure that I could have been, or any of us could have been.
No, we're all working men.
Working men.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised at how slow some things are, and then they can roll this thing out and put it on the rocket in one day. It seems like something that would take 3 days.
Yeah, in a committee and reports.
It's like, oh, I go to this guy, and then the next guy. Okay, you're gonna go this far now.
Wait, let's see. What would Kyle say? There's a stern sign. Yeah, stern sign about 24-hour security at jetty and trespassing. I debated driving through, but I decided not to risk it. I have an annual pass, so it's not like I'd be skipping payment. Yeah. Yeah, I've got the annual pass too, but I don't. I just, I have gone into Jetty Park after hours. Usually it's like during a launch or something, and I understand that they're a little more lenient when there's a launch. But when there is a blatant sign right at the entrance that says no trespassing, it's a little harder to do, or harder to get me to do.
I just meant that if you park in one of the other neighborhoods and then you just
walked up the beach, yeah,
you can't do anything here. That's the beach.
Yeah,
I think they just don't want your vehicle and you hanging out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, back to Starliner. So yeah, they've got Starliner sitting on top of Atlas V, and the launch date still stands at December 17th. And didn't you say that you saw an actual launch window on that, Matt? I thought I saw one of your tweets or from Next Horizons, but
yeah. So we do have a confirmed. Now, with this being the Starliner, it's probably not going to hold, but it is December 17th at 7:45 a.m.
Okay.
The launch window could hold, it could not. I mean, that's just the nature of launches. Don't plan and expect and spend all this money to come down here on December 17th to see a launch, and then it gets scrubbed for a day or two. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, you always want to wait until to the latest you can. I understand not everybody can wait that long. They have to clear it with their bosses and all that kind of stuff. But whatever you can do to delay the actual planning of it, or the setting in stone, obviously you start planning and have your plans be as flexible as possible. I understand that Southwest is very flexible with their flights. Make sure that whatever hotel you get is flexible. And most importantly, your days off, because you're going to need that, and you want to have a job to go back to, obviously.
Yeah. No launch is worth you losing your job over.
Yeah. 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 So hopefully everything stays on schedule. Let's see what I think I have. Yeah. Okay. And here we've got a picture of it. I'll show you guys. picture of Starliner sitting on top. You can't see the rocket here, but this is like a platform that encircles the top of the rocket, and the rocket is indeed underneath it. This is it being lowered onto it, so you can kind of see down that hole and see that the rocket is there.
Yep, you'll notice all the workers there, they all have the safety harnesses on because that platform does move away.
Yeah, right. That is awesome. It goes, I would imagine it goes up and down, right? Because once the capsule's on it, or does it, I wonder if it separates.
No, it separates,
Okay.
and then, it's like...
Or folds up. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
look, these look like hinges right here, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so it raises up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way, the whole... It's going to be completely moved away, just like the other, just like 37. It will just, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's able to do its thing.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, we're really stoked about this launch, to see this. We saw SpaceX fly the Dragon back in March, and with this launch, and also if SpaceX is able to get the in-flight abort test done next month, then Boeing and SpaceX are going to be neck and neck on who's going to fly astronauts first, because Boeing doesn't have to do the in-flight abort test. And in case you're wondering, why does SpaceX have to do something Boeing doesn't have to do? Well, when these contracts were first formed, each provider was given the opportunity to spell out their plan for leading up to operational flights with astronauts. And SpaceX included in their plans that they wanted to do an in-flight abort test. So it's not that Boeing's being allowed to not do something that SpaceX is being forced to do. Just Boeing didn't put that in there. They didn't put it in their plans. They didn't feel like they needed to do it. But SpaceX wanted to do it for whatever reason. And, it's cool that they want to. They obviously, they've already tested the ability. They've done their pad abort. They actually did their pad abort test back in like 2015, where they just sat the Crew Dragon on the launch pad just by itself, not even a rocket underneath it, and then fired the engines. The Super Draco engines just launched off the launch pad and then landed in the ocean. But they also want to make sure that everything's okay if they end up having to abort in the middle of flight. And just Boeing opted not to do that.
Bekah, Gabby says Kiwi Bekah.
That's my sister.
Ah, Gabby.
She says
Gabby
kiwi,
Gab.
and just so everybody knows, that's a curse.
Oh.
My sister puts a curse on people. It's the kiwi curse, and I guess she just put it on me. Thanks, Gabby.
Anybody, anything else about Starliner? How excited are you?
It's going to be cool. That's
Anybody going to
definitely
try
gonna be
to
awesome.
We're going to try to sneak out to the launch? Just all you got to do is swim up the coast, sneak up to, pad 41, climb up on top, and just climb in. Just climb in. And then you get up there to the space station, they open the hatch, and you're like, hey!
They're like, who are you? And I'm like, surprise. Got any more of them cookies?
Have they started making the cookies yet? I don't know.
I don't know.
Just hope that they put CO2 scrubbers in there.
Oh, yeah, they might not, huh? They might not have life support on it.
Just enough air until you launch, and then you're done.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wonder if there would be enough air in there just for one person to make it.
Oh, no.
I mean, because I know they have their flight suits, but the flight suits, as far as I understand, it's like a just-in-case thing, right? Like, if everything's going fine, then you're just breathing the air inside the capsule, I think.
They will have the dummy on board, though.
Right, and they released the name of it. What was it? Do you remember?
The name is... They named it after the 1950s icon. Like Rosie, I believe it is.
I think that's right.
Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's it. It was named after Rosie the Riveter.
Is it going to be in the pose with the arm?
Right now, as it stands, Rosie is in the capsule, has the suit and helmet on and everything, and she does have the bandana around her head.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, the little tribute. I mean, SpaceX kind of went a different route when they were doing their dummy. They named after aliens.
Yeah.
So
To each their own.
yeah, exactly.
SpaceX tends to go the silly route, which I like
Of
that,
course.
and I like the
Yeah, of
tribute
course.
route too. I like them both.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they both also went with females.
Yeah, exactly. Why not both?
Yeah. Okay, so that's Starliner, and now we have arrived at the culmination of the news this week. R.I.P. Starship Mark 1.
Ooh.
He was a good Starship.
It was a good Starship. This is the
What happened?
What happened?
It was the best Starship.
It's the only Starship so far. Yeah, so if you remember back in September, they had their big Starship update. Elon gave his presentation, and they had the Starship there on display, all done up with its flaps and canards. And this Starship was going through a pressure test leading up to a potential launch, because they were planning on doing some test flights, and before they actually want to try launching it, they want to fill it up with something. I don't think it was fuel. I don't think they had actual fuel in it. For just judging from what I've been reading, from other people speculating,
Oxygen?
nitrogen is what people are saying. They think it was nitrogen, and then they pressurize it with that nitrogen, just to see how much it could hold. Well, here,
They hold it a lot
yeah. I mean,
per time.
and there it goes, blew its top.
Danger, danger.
What's nuts? Oh, that was the blast hitting the camera. Okay, so check this out. Let's see if we can. Let's see. So back it up.
But you should you'll stream it so they can all see it here. We can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just watching the stream, so I can
Right.
see it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm watching the stream as well, so I got you.
Yeah, but there's that delay on it. All right, so here. Oh, okay. So that was at about 2 seconds. Where's it at? Wait, I thought I heard a boom. Oh, was that something you played, Kegel? Oh, man.
Oh man, okay. I thought maybe
I thought we were
we
gonna
were talking about visually it hit the camera.
Oh no! I was saying that I was thinking that we were gonna somehow be able to determine the distance from the camera to the Starship by counting the seconds. 1,000, 2
Man.
1,000.
Kegel got you.
He got me good. There it was.
Got you real good.
It's insensitive. It's too soon, man.
What's crazy to me is this, that is stainless steel, right? And look at the kinks in that, man.
But it's not like super thick. It's not like quarter-inch stainless steel going through there.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It says it's not very thick.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's not very thick, but there was another video.
Very large.
There's another video posted that somebody had got a not so tight of a shot, and you could just see how you could just see just how high up. No, it was one
see how high it went. Could you actually see one that?
Yeah, you could see just how high it went, and you could see when it landed down too. It was just it went pretty high up. Yeah, that thing.
I hadn't seen that.
Up. Yeah.
Do you remember who?
I'm not sure where it is. It's on Twitter somewhere. I saw it. I was like, dang, that went high.
Yeah, you just played the video. Yeah,
well, but this doesn't show how high.
No,
you come back down.
Yeah, you see it come back down. But
it reminded me of a MythBusters episode when they were blowing up hot water tanks. Same thing. Either it would explode from the side, or the top would be the failure, and it would go or the whole thing would just go shooting up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this was definitely zoomed out video, and you could see that it went pretty high up. So that means that had a lot of pressure behind it.
Yeah.
Now, when you say it's not that thick, how thick is the steel?
That's a good question. I don't know. But I know it's not like quarter inch. That'd be too heavy.
So you're saying it's less than a quarter inch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Steel? Stainless steel?
Yeah.
Like still stainless steel sheets, maybe.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're-
sheets, but what
I don't know. I was cutting some
an eighth inch?
quarter inch regular steel today, and that's thick.
Yeah.
It does not move very well.
Yeah, it's a-
I don't know. I really have no idea. I just assumed. Well, yeah, a quarter inch. I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure someone knows. I bet if if we were to be able to quickly get a response from the SpaceX subreddit, which we can't, but they would know. Someone on the SpaceX subreddit would know, but I don't know. But either way, yeah, it blew up, and what is this? Wait, why do I have two tabs of the same thing? Okay. Well, SpaceX did release a statement actually fairly quickly. Like, I think by the time I'd even heard about it blowing up, because I was working, but by the time I'd heard about it, this statement was already out. The purpose of today's test was to pressurize systems to the max, so the outcome was not completely unexpected. There were no injuries, nor is this a serious setback. As Elon tweeted, Mark 1 served as a valuable manufacturing pathfinder, but flight design is quite different. The decision had already been made to not fly this test article, and the team is focused on the Mark 3 builds, which are designed for orbit. Now, I wonder about that decision had already been made to not fly. I mean, obviously, SpaceX definitely reserves the right to change their mind, and they do it often. But, they had already talked about how they were going to try and fly it up to 20 kilometers, in the next couple of months. And part of me thinks that they would have gone ahead and tried that. Maybe not the 20 kilometer, but at least tried to get it up off the ground if this pressure test had been successful. But it does give me hope that the part where they say that there's was not a serious setback, because I think that's actually true. I don't think that's just damage control, because they were already planning on moving on to the Mark III. For those that don't know, Mark 1 is the one that's in Boca Chica. Mark 2 is the one we have here in Cocoa, Florida. And then Mark 3 will be at Boca Chica. Mark 4 will be here. And what they're saying about it being a valuable manufacturing pathfinder, they had to kind of learn how to build this thing. It's not like it's not the first rocket to ever be built out of steel, but it's the first one they've ever built out of steel, because the previous one that I know of was one of the Atlas rockets, one of the early Atlas rockets, and I'm not sure Lockheed Martin is coming off the plans on how to do that, how to do it well. So SpaceX and their team, you have to remember that these are actual people on the ground welding metal together, and they're trying to figure out the best way to build this thing. And so this has served as a pathfinder. They're trying to figure out how to do this and how to do it well, and then how to train more people whenever they ramp up production. They're going to have to build multiple of these things, and so they're going to need to be able to teach others how to do it and how to do it well.
So I did find something.
Okay,
so
what'd you get?
Speculation. People say that it could be close to 3.5 millimeters
Okay.
Of steel?
of stainless steel. So that's like, I did the math, it's like 0.13 of an inch.
A 13th of an inch. Wow.
Or 0.13 of an inch.
Oh,
Yeah.
so a tenth.
So almost a quarter inch.
Well, no, it'd be about an eighth inch, because a quarter of an inch would be 0.25. So half of that would be 0.125. So yeah, 0.13. Yeah, so it's about an eighth of an inch.
Yeah, so it's thick, but it's not.
Not as thick as I was thinking.
It says that someone said the pressures could be up to 200,000 psi before failure.
And that's another thing, and they've done this before. Remember, a while back, before it was called Starship, it was BFR, or the Interplanetary Transport System. it was going to be built out of carbon fiber. The tanks were built out of carbon fiber, and they took that big tank out into the ocean off the coast of Washington. Right, it was off. I think it was off the coast of Washington State, and they blew it up. They pressurized it to the point that it blew up because they needed to know how much pressure could it really hold. And that's essentially what they did here. And they may not have necessarily been intending to blow it up, but they were pushing it to the max of what they expected it to be able to take, and not necessarily.
I wonder if they were. I wonder if they were just filling it and it blew way earlier than they thought it was.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, it could be. Like, and when they're doing this kind of stuff, it's not that they're necessarily expecting to use these kinds of pressures in operation, but they need to know. They need to know all the ins and outs of the vehicle that they're building. So they need to know where the failure point is, and that's why they do this stuff.
The top.
Yeah, the very top. They need to know where that. It's like, hey, we cannot hit this point.
No, I meant the failure point this time was the top.
Oh,
top.
Oh yeah. So what were you saying before the show? I was like, yeah, we can talk about this on the show about how they. I wonder if we can. I remember that it was Kevin Sells on Facebook, but it's. Let's see. I wonder if I can quickly find.
It's in our chat. If you scroll up, we were in today.
How do I pull up our chat on the? Oh, wait, let's see. Your pages. Let's see, go here. How do I pull up messages?
Well, I have it up on my screen.
Can you share it? Yeah, share it to the Hangouts. Or, like, give it, I mean, I'm saying, like, can you copy it and paste it into the chat for the Hangout so I can just click on it?
Can I do that?
Yeah, because the way I'm set up, if I blow up the Hangout screen, it's still going to be covered up on half of the screen. You put your mouse over the Hangout, and the little chat box will pop up on the left side.
All right. I'm going to do this quicker next time.
Uh-oh. He just hung it up.
No.
Oh, man. He's like, oh, no. Well, now he knows. Oh, there he goes. I was going to say, now he knows he can just go back to the email. And oh, he just did it again. He's having a great go of it.
It will not let me do it. I dropped the photo in there, and then it kicks me out.
No, not the photo. I'm saying hit the chat, the little chat thing, and it should pop out a little dialog box where you can paste the link. Like, just go up there, copy the link. Oh, wait, do you have a screen capture? Let's see. Can I search?
I can find.
There it is. Never mind. I've got it right here. I've got the post.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin Sells. Yeah, he says there's your failure point. The 8 to 10 inch strip between the bulkhead weld and the hull butt, which I'm not sure I know what that is.
Hull butt is where the hull is welded to the ring there. See where right there where you're I don't know how much
this part?
Yeah, that's where the hull is welded to.
Okay.
No, or the bulkhead, sorry. The bulkhead is welded to the hull right there.
Oh, on the inside. I see. Okay. All right.
He's saying that it's too close to the hull where it's welded back together again.
Right. And so that's causing a weakness because it's too close.
Well, that, and then also when you weld, I guess he's on the steel, it makes it weaker because of the temperature from what did he say? I wish I knew more about welding, but I don't.
Right, yeah. Let's see, the small strip is a cold sink, and it's already slightly more affected on the crystalline level from the welding, as well as restricted in its ability to dissipate flexion. Flexion. I don't know how to say that. It'll eventually rip in temperate seas from flexion alone, but it's guaranteed to split in Arctic temperatures. And we're talking about much, much deeper than Arctic temperatures.
Yeah, because you got that liquid nitrogen in there.
Yeah. The plate split adjacent to one of those two welds, probably the whole butt. Wow. That's
So
it's just
you
really
need
impressive, man. How the
you
community
need
there's somebody
they
is
need a
huh?
shipbuilder there.
Yeah,
So they need
he's actually a shipbuilder.
they need that guy there. His
Right.
engineers, I guess.
Yeah, man. Why don't they hire him? Well, hey, maybe they're scanning Facebook and they see this, like, hey, let's call him up.
And every other welder is probably yelling, saying the same thing that works on ships. They're like, "You idiots!"
Yeah.
if that's what it is. But this is just a theory from someone that has some knowledge in that area.
Yeah, that's a bummer. If that's the case, it's a bummer that it's the way he's talking about it is this is just known information. Like you never break this rule when you're in welding large structures like this.
You notice that when they did the one here in Cocoa, they didn't put it together like this. They slid
it looks different.
bulkhead in. They like set it and then started sliding it down into the hole, not having it attached to a ring.
Right. Well,
So
this could be one of the differences between the two teams. Because that's the whole idea is behind having the two
they have
teams.
a shipbuilder there, and he's like, "Don't do it that way, like those Texans. They're gonna blow it up."
We've lost Matt.
Uh-oh.
He's like burying his phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm
I
sorry.
thought he meant like his connection.
No,
It's
I just see him over there burying his phone. Like, oh, okay, well, you guys got this.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Well, we are coming to the end, and I want to leave you with this very odd tweet that SpaceX put out.
Oh, did anyone see what the Cybertruck looked like yet? Was that tonight?
No, that's what the thing I was looking at.
Oh, is it
There's
going?
Yeah, no, there's
going
some
right now.
Some weird like guys playing with electricity or something. I don't know. Tesla.
And there goes the internet. Anybody there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody froze on me there for a second.
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, Kegel dropped out again. Kegel, why are you playing peekaboo, man?
Stop playing games with my heart. Oh, man. Well. Is Spectrum doing this to us again? No, it would appear that I still have connection because I am still... Yes, the stream is still rolling. Well, here you go, folks. SpaceX successfully completed the test of Starship's tanks. The tanks performed normally, with an observation noticed at the very end of test involving the bulkhead being yeeted closer to space than SLS will ever be. It's funny. It's not a real tweet, okay? But there's a lot of good stuff in there. If you get it, then that's awesome. And we're so close to the end of the show, I'm not even going to bother bringing everybody back in. And looks like we have now lost the stream. So, yeah, I'm here all by myself. And I'm going to close it out. Thanks for joining us, y'all. We may not have a show next week for because of Thanksgiving. I haven't really talked to everybody else about this, and I was going to talk about it right now towards the end of the show. But guess what? They're not here right now. So I'm just warning y'all. Maybe no show Thanksgiving. All right. Peace out.